So what we're going to look here is the idea of the appearance panel and what it can do not only for creating a graphic style, but what you can really do to kind of take your illustrations to an interesting kind of level. So first, let's just do real basic kind of what the appearance panel is. So in this case, I just want to fill, we're just going to do a regular square here. And you can see from the appearance panel, I have a stroke that I could change, right? I could change this to anything. And my fill, now I could change this color. The opacity right now is set to default, and right. So I want to just set another color. So I'm going to click on that, and you see another color came in. And now I'm going to click on blue. And the next thing I want to do, I want to offset it a little bit. And so we can go into our effects, distort and transform, and go to transform. And I'm going to preview this here. And I'm just going to go 0.2, 0.2, and you can see it offsets it. I'm going to say, okay, that's good. And then from that, right, I have this selected. I'm going to go to my graphic styles, drag it in here as a new graphic style. Now I'm going to delete that because I don't need it anymore. So what does that graphic style do? Well, I can apply it, right? So that already applied it because it was the last thing that I saved. Let's actually clear. Right, so let's say we had some text. Right, here it is, and I click on that graphic style, and you can see it applied that style to it, which is really nice and really handy. Right, so that's just a really easy example of that. So let's do something else. I'm going to go ahead and do another thing here, and I'm going to clear it, right, just hit the little clear appearance here. Now, I want to add a gradient to this. So I'm going to go to my gradients. Click on the standard one, except I want it to go top to bottom. Let's flip that around. Right, so I want something like this, except I want this now to be the opacity of 0, right? So it fades. So the idea is that it kind of fades off into, right? And let's just adjust this. Great. Let's now go to my appearance panel. Where'd that go? Pull this off here. So you can see now I have this fill that's in there, but I want my opacity here. I want to change this to multiply. Okay. And then I'm going to save that as a graphic style. And while I'm here, I'm also going to change the opacity now to 50%. And now I'm also going to save that. Okay, so what does that do? So let's say you had this here. Let's change this to a red. And the opacity of this is going to be 100. So right now I just have this red circle here. I'm going to copy, then do edit, paste in place. Right, so now there's two of them. And now I'm going to choose my gradient style. And you can see it applied it right to this image, right? Pretty cool. So I could also select the 50% one, so you can see I can get a softer gradient. So there's a lot of things that this can allow me to do. Let me back up for a second. If I'm here, right, so I'm going to bring this opacity back up to 100%. Instead of the gradient working the way that it is, let's go ahead, let's get my gradient panel up. Right, just some interesting things that you can use just as kind of like almost defaults that you could use. Instead of it, right, we're going to change this to black, and we're going to bring its opacity up. So what I'm now dealing with is this idea that from the sides, right, we have this darkness, and then it kind of fades. And let's actually bring these down a little bit. And so let's say you like that. Let's change, right? We're at opacity at 50%. That's good. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Let's change the opacity to 50%. And let's put that in there. Oops. So now what this allows me to do, right? Let's change this to this red color. Let's clear this. And let's give that a red color. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste in place. And let's go to my graphic styles. Let's choose that. Oops, got to select it first. Now select that. And you can see now, right, it's sitting right over top of it. Let's choose the 50% one. And so now I have this really soft gradient. Now I could do that with all sorts of different illustrations. I can have these kind of tools and textures, and we're getting into deeper textures kind of at the ready, and then I can just kind of put them into my illustrations and have a whole set of graphic styles that you can use.